Hello, and welcome back. My name's Patrick. I took a brief break. A lot of things happening in the world and in my life, and I know in yours too. My dear brother passed away last week, and I think I'm making this as a tribute to him in many ways, because he always encouraged me to do the videos. He enjoyed them, and he would write nice comments about me. So that was a change. Someone writes something nice about you. And it was unexpected, but not all that surprising, you know. And it kind of reminds me, he was a very gifted intuitive. He was a gifted a channel. He channeled Christ in open session one time. He had many people, and Christ came through to him, and he channeled them. And I can't remember what was said. Basically, everything's okay, humanity. Well, you know, he's okay right now. We pass on to the other side, and it's significantly different what we think life is. And I always lean towards it's kind of a holodeck, and if you are not an evolved soul to begin with, you don't have a lot of say on your fate in your life. If you are evolved and conscious, even on the other side, you have more say in this life. Particularly your personality and what you want to accomplish and things like that. And to add to your soul growth, it's about adding your frequency. Everybody wants to increase their frequency here, and this is the place to do it in the physical realm. That's why it's so important that you focus on increasing your frequency. So here's my Grail cup. I really love the Holy Grail. I love most things doing with the ancient monasteries and things. I think it's really neat. I like going to the Indian ruins and seeing the shaman pits. We have them all over. I enjoy visiting those places. I've actually been to St. Peter's in the Vatican many, many times. I resided there in Rome when I was a teenager, and I used to go all over the place. It was really neat. And it was there that I was taught for about a year a classic education, and it really allowed me to catch up about a classic education. And one of those people showed up in my dreams about a year ago, told me to write a book. And he taught classical writing. And you can always see a person who went to, usually it's at Catholic schools, but I don't know if they do it anymore. But essentially, when you write a paper, any idea, they make you type it up, underline words and things. I don't want to get into it, but it makes you write succinctly and from A to B to C, really clearly. And you can always identify classical writers in a way. And that is disappearing because the public schools just went down. They went down and down and down. And they used to be really difficult. I mean, they used to be classical themselves. But they were taken over by a group of people that wanted the population to be dead and dumb. Just dead and dumb energy. You're just consumer units of energy. And people are waking up to that, and that's why the charter schools are doing well. You know, their facilities are so-so, but you know, you want the tools to. I see a deer about a half a mile away on the road. Maybe it's something. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. That it's not the kids' fault that they don't know anything. You know, being taught sex education in elementary school, if you don't know, that is wrong. And a lot of different level for the soul of the nation, for the knowing the difference between right and wrong. We have drifted away from it, and the Luciferians have been chipping away at it. And I'll say some other things. You know, gosh, there's so much to say. I want to go to something more important, then I'll go fill in the other stuff. So you don't have to watch beyond this. So a dream I had maybe a month ago, maybe it was 4 weeks ago, I was putting on body armor like I was before a battle. And it could have been like Japan or medieval time. And I had all this, you know, you put it, dun, chain link, you know, I'm getting all, and I'm looking to the horizon like I am now. And over here on the horizon was some dark spots. And that's the enemy, evil. And it was forming. I go, and I said in the dream, I go, oh, that's not too bad. I can, or we can handle that. And then I scanned over to the horizon, and it was a huge black blob space, like it was just black in the sky, and all these little black spots were being called. They were being called in. The army is being assembled by Lucifer and Satan, the dark energy evil. They're assembling for the future battle. And when I saw that in the dream, as I'm putting my armor on for the battle, I said, we're dead. We're dead. We're dead. And it's so big. And I doused it, and it refers not to me in particular a dream, if it refers to us, the country and humanity. And evil is assembling their army. And I would say for the last 4 weeks, you have been seeing that. And it's gonna be really bad. It's gonna be really, really bad. And people like, which are Ocasia and those other women, they're really bad people. They're like demons, and they're here to bear false witness, to start up a race war. That's what they're doing. They're trying to start a race war. They've been paid off. Al Sharpton, he's on board. They're all starting race wars, and they're bringing all the illegals in to wear out everyone. Just wear them out, everyone. Just make them like it's futile. That's all the dark energies on the horizon forming. And it's going to come to a head. It's going to come to a head. Now I'm going to fast forward to a friend of mine had a dream last night, and basically he didn't know. He saw a big building underwater. He thought it might be the Federal Reserve. And if that goes under, that's a symbol for the economy. And it's also a symbol of how we do our commerce, how we do our economy. And they say they're working on solving this thing. I always thought the easiest way to solve it and to fake the public out, because that's what they're going to do. They're not going to they don't want to make a big change with the Federal Reserve. They don't want to spook the economy. It's too fragile. But you can do something like you just move the whole Federal Reserve under the Treasury Department. You know, that changes the legal composition of everything. The public probably can handle it because, you know, Nixon went on air and said we are no longer on the gold standard, and he was told to do that, and then he was removed from office. Anyway, we're going to fast forward to the big events of our time. Did anybody see that man? His name is Steve Pieczenik. You know who I'm talking about. And he used to show up on Alex Jones. I don't think he's talking to Alex Jones anymore. I don't know. But he's been doing his own videos, and he gets like, 30,000 views. He's ex-CIA. The character for Harrison Ford plays a CIA agent. It's based on him. And this man, he's Jewish. He says right out front, I'm Jewish. And he said, I arrested a few Mossad agents in my life. And he says a lot of our issues is with Mossad. So he came out and said that, and it's like everybody's stunned. I don't even know if the video is still up. It was a week ago. And this is where it's going. There's an aspect in the United States, the Jewish community is getting behind that narrative which Steve expressed. And he said, we have nothing to do with Mossad, basically. He says the Jews in the United States who work in the CIA were patriots. And he goes, the CIA has changed, and he calls it the new CIA. I don't believe it, but let's go with that. The stunning thing is, do you see how the narratives are changing? They're changing everywhere. They're changing everywhere. And we're going to find the truth to all these things. Now, he said 9/11 was done by Mossad. all right? You can go watch this. This is not a lightweight person. He has standing. He was told to do this by the American Jewish community, to go forward and start putting this narrative out there so people understand who did 9/11. Now, Alex Jones, I like him, but he's telling a false narrative on 9/11. He stays away from it right now, but he keeps saying the Saudis did it. Well, in actuality, he's probably not lying, because the Saudis and the Mossad are almost the same thing. That's one of the little secrets, and everybody in the Mideast knows, but American people don't. The American people have been kept dumb. They don't tell us anything, so it's hard to get this information. If the Federal Reserve is underwater, that's not good. Maybe the transition won't work. I've been making some purchases, and I said I was trying to make a memorial plaque for my brother, and I can't get anything on PayPal to work. Now, it could be just me. Maybe they're signaling me out. But I tried to make a few purchases here and there, and I can't get it working. Everything's slow, being held. Oh, we got to hold it. Hold it for what? I can't do it. It's very odd. So I have all my PayPal taken down. You can't send me money. Don't right now, you know. Unless it's like a really big check, then I'll tell you my street address. Anyway, I do have a few government people who watch this program. That's why I stopped making it for a while. I wanted to be sure about the ramifications of my existence. Now, my brother, who did pass, was a gifted, intuitive, and channeler, and he did these channelings, and he did not fit in this world. I mean, he had a beautiful soul. He was very disciplined. He was just really incredible. I mean, he does all the dowsing like I did. You know, I could do dowsing and I Ching, and he did everything. You know, he meditated a lot to get close to spirit. And you know, he read much more than I did. And libraries filled of really obscure writers from, you know, the 17th century. He just consumed all that information. Well, when you read a book, it's in your auric field. And people who read a lot of esoteric spiritual books, and it doesn't have to be metaphysical. You can be like reading Christian books or reading Buddhist books. It builds up in your field, and you are not viewing the consumer society correctly. So when you go into a room and everybody else is TV watchers and you are reading all these esoteric books, they're going to know you're different subconsciously, and they'll drift over. The darker souls will drift over and, you know, kind of poke you, you know, things like that. Poke you in a public way. And sometimes they'll do more than that. So they resent the fact that you have all this information. So you can't just explore this material and don't think the other souls out there don't know who you are and what you're doing and what you're interested in. So it made for a difficult life for him in many ways. He had a scholarship as an athlete in college, and he was fortunate. He got these government jobs. And government jobs allow you to pursue these studies on your own, and you can really get down and study. You get paid pretty good. And it depends what your government job is. I think he got paid well, but it really took its toll on him. You know, bureaucracy takes a sensitive soul and just beats the snot out of it. That's what it does. And if you find yourself in a bureaucratic place, you got to put shields up. He practiced all these shields and stuff. In the end, the evil sort of won. It eventually pushed him out. He got older and things, and he was doing much, much better without working in a government job. And so that's that. I wanted to point that out because I didn't expect it. It was so unexpected. And I just wanted to this is a redundant of something else. Here's my cup of Grail. I'm sorry I got distracted. So you remember a long time ago I talked about this lady. She was a government person too, but she wrote these books on trying to embed your auric field with spiritual symbols. And it's a way of like a tattoo in your body. People tattoo their body. Well, they're affected by that tattoo, whatever it is, the intent, the subject. So if you write born to kill, well, that's going to affect you in a Luciferian way. You know, so you got to be careful what the tattoo is. So she did really involved. She would get a strobe light that blinked, and she would put I forget what she did. She did like Sananda, which is Christ, the Spirit of Christ, Christ Michael, let's say, and you put that on your heart or in your auric field, and then the light would blink off and on, and you do an exercise for a few minutes, and the idea is you're embedding that image of, let's say, Christ Michael into your auric field, and it's a way of protecting yourself. Fast forward. So I made this. This is my Grail cup. I got this on sale for $1, but it was $7 shipping. I got it for $8, but it's worth it. So what I did was, this is by Raphael. This is Christ Michael, the angel, Archangel Christ Michael. Here's a little photo, killing the demons, you know, killing our desires in essence. And I have all this Latin phrases I would put on here. Different, like here I have amor et lux in nomine Christi, back in the name of Christ, love and light. See, so the fluid in here became, which Christ's light is, it's the highest. Christ's love, Christ's light is the highest universal light that's permitted on this planet. All right, and then so the light, I just changed this drink into holy water. This is holy coffee. Holy coffee. And you put anything you want in there. I have a T-shirt. I put the same thing on the T-shirt. So underneath the T-shirt, I'm walking around, and I did some heavy-duty stuff. I had to do bill collector stuff, and not bill collectors, but straighten out my brother's finances a little bit. We did that. I'm just sharing this with you. I had this underneath my shirt. This essentially all this, and here's the All Father in English. Here's the All Father here in ancient Aramaic. You remember that? That's the language of Christ. And it's right here. These are simple. I went and got these under images, and Google has a translation service too. And it doesn't have to be an exact translation because the intention is all that matters. It really is. It doesn't have to, commas and stuff, all that doesn't matter. And then I have the image of Christ, the shrouded twin, which I doubt is the actual shroud. And some people think they've done genetic, they extracted it and reproduced the body of Jesus, or like a replica. It's really a duplicate. They think they've done that. And some people think it's Prince William, just to speed it all up, because genetics has gotten to the point where they can do things like that. They can go back like not Jaws, you know, the dinosaur movie, and they went and get the egg, and they fertilize it with something similar, and you grow it. So it's getting crazy. So they could go back and pull out things in graves and reproduce people from the grave, from the bone marrow and things, and they're not telling the public about it. And Prince William may in fact be, he's not Christ. The body won't look exactly like him, but it's taking that genetic code and trying to reproduce it. You need the spirit, you need the soul. I mean, they can't do that. They can't do that. So anyway, here it is. Here's the Shroud of Turin as a negative, and then the History Channel, you can't see that, but the History Channel made a rendering from this, and it's of a man with a beard, and it looks very human-like. It's really spooky. I dowsed that particular image, and my dowsing saying is pretty close to 80% there, the rendering of what he looked like. So they used forensic techniques to reproduce from this. And then there are some really anti-Christian people out there. They made a rendering and they came out with like a Neanderthal man. So when you go look up Jesus Christ images, you'll see this like a Neanderthal ape type man face. And they've been pushing that out. Oh, this is what Jesus looked like. No one knows. I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, but it's not that. That was just attacking Christ. With the Luciferians in this country, who hold all the power, that's all they do. You see any modern movie with Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, what are they doing? They're using Christ as a swear word. It's really, really bad that they're doing that. But they're doing it like 50 times in the first 10 minutes. Because will they do that with Muhammad? No, because they would be dead in 24 hours. They know that. They can't do it to anybody, but they do it to Christ. And it's because Christians are more tolerant. We're taught to be tolerant, you know. But I don't know how long that's going to hold. You know, Matt Damon is selling himself as this, you know, the other one, Marky Mark. He's selling himself like all these all-American boys. They're pigs. They sold their souls because you can't use Christ as a swear word. It's like rule number 1. You go back to the original manuscripts of being a human being on this planet for the modern era. So I had that. I just give you an idea. What else did I say here? Here, let me see. Here, I got the word. Archangel Christ, Michael, Archangel Gabriel. Here, I wrote in Latin. And the word universal is a very high word. So if you said universal Christ love, that's extremely, extremely high. You write that on a cup, on a T-shirt, on a label, you're going to produce really high vibration. You can put it anywhere you want. And that's the thing. You're trying to surround yourself and consume yourself with high frequency, high energy to protect you as much as you can, especially what's coming up. We're putting our body armor for the war. So the other thing I did was I have, before I run out of memory here, I put a label. So I made this in a label, and I put the label. I bought it for $4 from like Vista, and the other one is Snapfish, and I put it on a spitzer bottle or a spray bottle, and I prayed the All Father on it. I put the label on it, and I sprayed around the house, just like smudging. And any negative energies you expel, and you say that I expel all negative energies and demons. I expel, and you go, it's holy water, and you spray it on yourself, on your auric field. Get rid of it, and it goes for at the optimum power about 4 days. All right, and then it'll start diminishing, but it's still good for a week or so. So you sometimes I pour it in here. I say the All Father, and I pour it in the spritzer bottle, but you don't have to. You can just fill it up with clean water, as clean as you could. You know, filtered water, bottled water, fine. And your intention is going to make that just like smudging it with sage. And it's really cool. And you can spray your car, you spray your stuff. I spray at websites. I go to a website, I spray it on the thing, and I clean it. I can spray a house long distance. I spray their house, someone's house. I just spray it on the computer screen. And I wipe it clean, and I say a prayer, and the whole house is clear. It's distance cleaning, and you're going to need that coming up. They're playing hardball. The enemy is. This is not. Now I asked if this was Armageddon, and my first answer was no. So the battle that's coming up, this is not Armageddon, but it's going to be a doozy. It's going to tear the culture and the country apart, and that's why you got to stay behind Trump. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the next year, but I tell you, they're aiming for the economy. There's two things. One, God controls the economy. The higher forces, the higher dimensions, they control it, not the Luciferians. Lucifer does run this dominion. So you got these kind of contact. The 3D is their playground. We're visitors. We're visitors here. This is not the universal norm. So you're going to have to withstand these attacks, as it were, in this, and you're going to bring heaven on earth. That's your job, in a way. And it's very difficult when they're just hammering away at you at work, at coffee, in the bus. You know, you just have to do your best. Say, don't overreact. Don't go down to their level, you know, when you are attacked. And keep your head down, sort of thing. And you always protect the weak. That's something. Always protect the weak the best you can within the means you have, you know. So And then I told you I made the label, and I made the T-shirt, and the T-shirt's beautiful. I wore it on the outside because I had to go into a sales office to help clean up my brother's estate a little bit, and I had it on the outside, and it's pretty much all this. It had the All-Father, it had the Shroud of Turin, which is a 10. Raphael's painting, now he was a contemporary of Leonardo and Da Vinci and Michelangelo, and it's a beautiful painting. You could pull it off the net, and I think you can. There's no copyright on it. All right, and he's a 10. His art was a 10. He did all these religious themes from the Bible. Awesome. So it makes a difference who paints it. Who paints it makes a difference. And Leonardo was very high. Another Dowser divination person who wrote some books in the 1980s, and he passed away in the 90s. And he thought Leonardo was like a Christ energy, and he probably is. I always get Leonardo about 7.5 on my scale. 8 begins the sainthood. All right, when I'm doing 8 begins the sainthood. 8, 9, 10, is the saints. The saints are right there. Any writings in the 7, I love. And that's that. That's all I wanted to say. I missed your comments. Thank you for writing me and stuff. I'm doing fine. I'm just not one of those people who does a video every other day. I have so much. I'm exploding with ideas, but it's sort of dangerous out there. And so I'm rethinking how to approach it all. I might just do 2 different channels, one more political, one more like spiritual. I always said this from day one, from when Trump won election night, that Ivanka was going to be president someday, and I still hold by that. I still believe that the Communist Party in China will collapse, and it will go through a spiritual renaissance, as it were. And Russia and the United States are like that behind the scenes. The good guy Americans in government and in military are very close to the Russians. We're working together. It's logical. When you look at the geopolitical map, it makes sense. I don't want to say it, but our relations with China are iffy. It did increase. My little meter on war, we went from 40% to 50. We might be 55% with war with China of some kind. It's still kind of a low number, but it should be at 5%, 10%. That's what I'm looking for. But we're at 50, 55, and it has moved up. The Chinese think they're looking at Taiwan. It might be a distraction to the people of China. Well, let's go just take Taiwan, and we'll cover and guess what? They're not going to win. They're not going to be able to do it. The Taiwanese are going to be really tough. It's a really mountainous country. They're dug in. They got sophisticated equipment. Yes, can Red China subdue them if they start using nukes? Yeah. If they don't and the whole world's going to see this. They're going to lose. They're going to lose with the PR is going to look really bad. They had to go pick on a little tiny island. They want this country, but you know what? The truth of the matter is, Taiwan is a democracy, and the Red Chinese are not. And we have people, the Democrats and some Republicans like Mitt Romney, they want to make this country communist. They're going to call it something different, but all decisions are made by the state. No. The first law in our covenant with the universe is in the Declaration of Independence. What do we say? Inalienable rights. Inalienable rights come from God, come from heaven, not from man. It's not the rights of man come from government. No, that's how they kill 100 million Russian Christians. 100 million, that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do. And it's just that small distinction. Who gives me the right to exist? God gives me the right to exist. That's where it comes from. And the people in universities, they're all messed up. They took over the university. The kids are all messed up. They believe in socialism. And, when the economy gets rough and they got their stupid political science degree, it doesn't feed them. It doesn't put wheat on the table. It doesn't grow the wheat. So there's going to be an awakening. I don't know. I bet you it's like 35% of the students will be fine, maybe 40, like will be able to survive and move on. 60%, just like the population, they can't wake up. They'll believe whatever you put on CNN. They just don't understand it. And when the Federal Reserve changes and goes underwater, which we're coming up with the battle on the horizon, evil is going to attack. It's going to be here, maybe in September, but you can feel it. You can feel the buildup. You can feel it. So, Keith Raniere of Nexus, he had a patent out on what? He had a patent on how to deprogram Lucifer out of your life. Can you believe that? And so I got an envelope. I was going to take it out and I was going to show you the patent. And you know what's on it? Say the All Father 3 times a day. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. You can't find this information anywhere else on the internet. I wish I could do this every day, but I'll try. Bye-bye.